Hey guys, how are you doing? This is You Can Beat Me, and welcome to the first episode of my team journey in the F1 2021 game. We didn't do this when the last game came out in F1 2020. I was involved in a lot of league racing and didn't really get time, but this time we will probably go through at least a couple of seasons on this, and maybe even more if the series picks up and I'm enjoying it while doing it. So we're doing a custom season. We will probably go for a 16 race season, not a full season or a 10 race season. I think that's a balanced length, and that's something which I think would be a lot of fun. I had some doubts in terms of which tracks to take and which to exclude, because Monaco and Baku definitely not taking those. Don't like them at all, especially Baku. Monaco is fine, but it's too challenging, and since I'm very new to this game, as we all are, I thought I will wait until at least the next season before I try that one out. Russia is another track which I have excluded, as well as Australia, which you will see in just a moment that I'm not keeping Australia for now. And yeah, that's about it in terms of tracks. Canada is a track which I don't particularly like either, but for now we're keeping that. And let's see, I think it should be a fun race, but 16 races, long season compared to my standards at least. And let's see where our team ends up in the constructors table at the end of the season. In terms of the settings, I was thinking a little bit in terms of what to do, because I've heard that sometimes if you put it on default, or although there were no such options last time around, but you develop your car pretty quickly and you are not really able to, how do I say this, hinder your growth. You are growing too fast and you are getting a lot of upgrades in. So what I've done is the resource rate as well as cash rate for the player is what I have reduced, so that I don't develop my car exponentially and just make impractical strides through the field in terms of player faults or the damage. That's all standard. I have put the safety car frequency as standard. Not sure if it will work. If I don't get a lot of safety cars, I might increase it. Corner cutting is strict, and those are the settings which are there more or less. Alright, so next up is whether or not to use my team icons. So because I have a deluxe edition of the game, they're available to me. I might not use them right away, but I would still like to have that option, although you can still enable it later on. But I think I will choose the use my team option, and we will get started with the journey. Right, so in terms of team name, I've named my team Garuda Racing. And when it comes to sponsors, now this is where I spent a lot of time trying to understand what kind of goal bonuses, weekly income as well as signing bonuses are there, and pretty tough choices to make here, because some challenges are doable. But I think finally I settle on Duotone, which has a very high signing bonus, so we get a lot of cash upfront to make some signings, and power and gearbox, or rather just the engine. So I think Duotone is our primary sponsor. I have chosen Renault as the engine because that gives us more room to spend elsewhere, and I like the sound of the Renault engine. The Alpine sounds really great. Right, coming to teammate, this is where I spent some time as well. I was thinking about people like Alesi or Armstrong. Even Delatraz is a good driver and I like him. Giotto and I think Schwartzman are also drivers who are quite highly rated. Their contract cost is a little bit more, but I thought it's better to invest in a driver straight away who is fast off the blocks. So I'm going with Robert Schwartzman, and those are the choices we are making. Duotone is the primary sponsor, Renault is the engine, and Schwartzman
You can go back and
as
edit anything we've done
the
so far, and we'll come back here at
teammate.
the start of each season. But if you're ready to go, hit advance to head to Team HQ, and we can start our push to the top of Formula One.
Right, so this is the intro where I think Will Buxton takes our interview and we answer a few questions to the press. So let's listen on.
Hello folks, and welcome to this, a very special edition of Paddock Pass. As you can see, there's no pit lane behind me, and as you can hear, no roar of engines, and that's because they've set me free from the F1 paddock to escape here to the countryside and to the headquarters of Formula One's newest team. Now, it's not every day we get to pull back the curtain and look behind the scenes at an F1 team. Rarer still that we get to talk not only to the team owner, but also the team's lead driver. But what makes this place extra special is that the owner and lead driver are one and the same person. Now, it's been an interesting 12 months, and we all know a number of the regulation changes which were due to come into effect this year have been delayed until next. Some, though, are still seeing the light of day, amongst them the all-important budget cap, which gives some of the smaller teams a little further down the order, potentially, the opportunity to compete with the bigger teams. Good for them, but great for us as viewers. But what does our new team owner think about these new rules? Do they see them as a challenge, a hurdle that needs to be overcome? Perhaps they see them as an opportunity to disrupt the status quo, a chance to come out swinging and to carve their name into Formula One history. Well, I had the opportunity to ask them these very questions just earlier today, and here's what they had to say. Well, first of all, thanks so much for inviting us here today. It's been wonderful to see behind the scenes. As you might expect, I've got about 1 million questions, so let's jump straight in. It's been a long time since we last saw a team owner take their own car onto the track, and the sport's changed enormously in the intervening years. How are you going to handle the responsibilities of both managing and driving for a Formula One team? Let's talk about your teammate. Now, it's clear they're excited to have signed with you, but tell me, what is it that you think they bring to the team? So you've obviously been putting a lot of work into the car. I know it's early days, but how do you expect it to feel out there? Most of the other teams can boast years of experience in Formula One. Where do you see the opportunities to make those vital performance gains you need to put you within reach of the other cars? Ultimately, your success this season is going to come down to whether you can take positions from the other drivers. What is it about your car that's going to give you that edge in those battles? And finally, with so many specialist departments working together here at your headquarters, and with such an important deadline coming up, who's getting that coveted Teacher's Gold Star? Which group do you feel the most proud of right now? Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been wonderful to get an insight from you, and of course to see around the headquarters. Thank you for today. Really appreciate it, and thank you all at home for watching as well. We'll see you very soon.
Right, so that's the interview with Will Buxton done. We will just quickly see how the HUD looks like, and we'll dive straight away into practice 2, where I am trying to complete my qualifying program. So now into the heart of sector 3 with just one more corner to go. We're barely there, just a tenth up on our time, or the target time. And interestingly, in the first practice session I was not able to beat the qualifying time. I had to do it again in practice 2, and I thought this is probably a little bit
the end of the program.
more.
Box this lap so we can analyze the data. Box this lap.
Yeah, so I thought that this was a little bit more indicative because that's when the qualifying session and the race also happens. So in terms of practice programs, I did all of them in I think there was a race simulation, fuel management, as well as qualifying program. Just one thing which I wanted you guys to notice here, just look at the wear rate in terms of engine as well as gearbox. It's quite wearing. I mean, it's just the second practice session and the gearbox is already 13%. I know it's a practice gearbox and we'll get a different one
Session
for
has
the
drawn
race.
to a close, so let's review our top three. Bottas, Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo. Sadly, it's time to say goodbye as free practice is over.
Right, so it seems like I need to spend more resource points on durability, and the fact that I have used reduce there, that's something which I need to maybe change if I don't develop quickly enough. Now this is something new to the game, whether you want to actually do the practice session yourselves or you want the AI to do it for yourself and you get the resource points. I'm not sure if this was available in practice 1 and 2, but definitely available in practice 3, and I actually choose the option on the right, which is go to quick practice, which is basically AI doing the practice session for you, and we gain 375 resource points, which takes our total to almost 1000 resource points. We try to develop a couple of upgrades. I'm not sure if I've shown that in the video, but next up is going to be qualifying. We have a couple of emails about from Jeff about the circuit and what to do, what not to do, and not something which I read very often, but here we go. It should be qualifying in just a moment, and it's a short qualifying, so it's an 18-minute session. We are not doing the full qualifying just yet. Maybe we'll switch to that once we are more competitive, but as things stands, it's an 18-minute qualifying session where we try to get into, let's say, top 15. Not sure if even that's possible, but that should be our aim from the word go. AI level, by the way, is 95. I'm not sure if you caught that. So that's the AI level, and let's see. I'll quickly show my setup here. It's something which is absolutely random. I saw some bits and pieces here and there on other YouTube videos, and that's what I've been doing. I don't even know if this is the right setup, but when I was using this in the practice sessions, the car felt quite balanced. So 6.9 is the wing I'm running, and I already done one lap, which is a 28.2 if I'm not wrong, and this is towards the end of the session where we are going for our final run.
We're set.
As things stands, we are P17 and Schwarzman is a couple of tenths behind us. He is already out on the track on his outlap, and we will be one of the last cars to cross the line, so we should have optimum track conditions, but let's see if we can actually beat our teammate. As things stands, he's P19, so we haven't beaten him, but he might improve as the track rubbers in more and more in these last few minutes. You can see on the minimap on the left there are a lot of cars, and Alonso has been annoying me throughout the outlap, so I've decided to let him go and decided to hang back just a little bit, but also not too much. I want that slipstream from Alonso. Maybe it will help him. The Alpine definitely seems to be a faster car right now, at least in qualifying, so maybe that will help him. So for the next minute and a half, I will not really be talking much. This is my qualifying lap, or the fastest qualifying lap in full. So here we go, braking into turn 1. You can see I'm already in the red, so not getting probably the best of the exits, and this is what was annoying me all weekend. Turn 1, I was taking the curb, a lot of curb, which was unsettling my car, and I was not able to get on the power very easily. But into turn 4 now, and momentarily going into green, but again riding that curve which unsettles my car and losing me more time. So that's something which I need to work on, especially on this circuit. Curbs are more deadly than last game, so that is something I need to be careful about. But still in the red, not improving much, but I think I have increased the downforce from 6.9 to 7.9. That was the only thing, one of the very few things I could change. And as you can see here, I have gained almost 2 tenths just in that turn 10 alone. So that's something, maybe there was something which was wrong with my setup, but at least I gained a lot of time through that. Tried to go flat out here, almost managed it, but in the race runs you will see that I have to lift off if I don't get the entry correct. but 3 tenths up now on my time. Schwartzman, you can see on top left, has outqualified me. I am P19 right now, Schwartzman is P18, but we are up by considerable amount of time, almost 4 tenths. But as we cross the line, this is going to be more than 3 tenths of an improvement, and I think it puts me P16. If I see the top right, we'll have
We're
a
all
quick
ready
look.
for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Hamilton, Bottas and Sergio Perez.
So
With
Hamilton is
qualifying
on
wraps
pole,
up, we now have our grid
and
lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to
we
join us
are
then for what will
P16
no
with
doubt
Robert
be a
Schwartzman
fantastic race.
P19. So P16 and P19, not bad for the first qualifying session of the team, and Schwartzman is 2 tenths behind me, and he's a 70 rated driver. So for people who have been more accustomed to playing my team, just let me know if this is okay. If in terms of AI level 95, do I need to up it a little bit, or do I need to increase it or decrease it? Whatever, any
Months
feedback
of
you
rumour
have,
and
happy to
speculation
listen to
all
that.
come to an end today as we return to racing for the opening event of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. Formula One returns to the desert today on this exceptional 3.36 mile circuit. 15 corners provide plenty of overtaking opportunities. It could be a strategic race, this one, with Sakir notorious for eating up the rear tyres. Watch out for drivers managing their rubber at some point during the Grand Prix. A new season then, a clean slate where anything could happen. Anthony Davidson is with me today as we get another year of Formula One underway.
We're into those tense few minutes before the first race then. Everyone's a little bit nervous about reliability. They haven't been running in the hot, turbulent wake of other cars in practice. And they've not been pushing at 100% for long durations. Let's hope no one has to deal with any nasty surprises.
Right, race time, P16 on the grid, and our preferred strategy will be mediums to hards. So it's a standard one stopper around Bahrain if you're not starting on the soft tires. In terms of fuel load, now this is where I was not very sure. There is no lean mix. If there is no safety car, there is no rich mix either, so it's standard all the way. And in the end I decided to start the race with just 0.1 lap of fuel lesser than what was required. So I'm not entirely sure if this will work out, because I have no idea about fuel saving. Usually I use lean, but here we go, lights out now, and away we go. We have a terrible start of the line in terms of wheel spin, and look at Schumacher on my right, and I have to give him space because he's alongside, and that's a dive bomb and a half from Schumacher. Rides the curb so much, I wonder if he has floor damage there, as I lose the car a little bit, but then getting the exit and had to go a little bit off track to avoid contact, and we basically made 2 places off the start in P14. And we have the Leclerc ahead on soft tires. Not entirely sure where he started, but he's on the softs, so he's choosing a 2-stop. A softs 2 hards, I'm not sure if possible, but as things stands, we are P14 and in one piece as we transition later to lap 1, and you can see it's a 3-car battle up ahead with Leclerc, Alonso and Schumacher. So Schumacher with his dive bomb has overtaken cars he has no business being ahead of, but now Alonso and Leclerc are already getting impatient. You will see a lot of AIs getting impatient and getting aggressive on this lap. Alonso has passed Schumacher. I am now trying to get through, but I am kind of boxed in here because I have nowhere to go. Leclerc is probably going to make it 3 wide. He does. I have to hang back there, and Leclerc is making a big dive bomb down the side of Schumacher and Alonso both, and let's see if Leclerc can get the position, as we are trying to capitalize on that. And we have taken Schumacher. Can we take Leclerc as well? I think we can. Reading on the outside, and we have to give them just enough space. There's a little bit of contact, but I don't think there's damage to me or Leclerc there. That's probably wheel banging, but that is an overtake round the outside of turn 4, and on lap 2 we have gained 4 positions from our starting grid. What a start it has been, and now it's time to settle into the race and ensure that we hit apexes, take care of our tires, because this is a circuit which is notorious for tire wear, so we have to ensure that. Cutting to lap 3 now, and we're just checking up on our
Gap to
teammate, I
teammate
think.
behind
Yeah,
is
there it is.
6.3 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. They're in 18th. The time last lap was a 1:34.7.
And so just checking on what Robert is doing. He's already 6 seconds behind, so it seems like race pace is not the greatest for him, as I'm trying to avoid running into the back of Alonso. Now I have DRS, so I think this lap I will try to make a move on him, because while he's not very slow, but I feel like I'm getting held up. Alonso defends, he's going to the middle of the track, leaving just about enough space, and I try to just dive it down the inside, but for now I have to hang back. If I had broken any later there, I might have gotten wing damages. Leclerc has caught up now, so Leclerc is not going away, and that's a little bit annoying. He is on the soft tires, so he will be fast in this phase of the race, but I expect him to struggle maybe in a lap or two, as we take that curb under braking, which basically takes off a lot of speed of the car, and we have lost some time to Alonso, but because of DRS we are able to keep up with him more or less. And yeah, this is the point where I'm getting a little impatient now. You can see Sebastian Vettel in P10 is already running away. You can see a lift there at the right hander, but yeah, I'm getting really impatient right now. I want to get past Alonso. I want to ensure that I'm running in free air and my engine and my tires don't overheat. So this is starting off lap 5 now, and I have had enough. You can see I have started deploying the energy quite early. Alonso defends to the inside. I will have to go down the outside, but he has some speed there, so I will have to give him room. I can't just cut him off, and I take a wider line, and I think the move is done. I have to ensure that he doesn't come back to overtake me into turn 4, and that's why we use overtake on the exit, and that's us into P11. Right, cutting to lap 7, I think this is where the first round of pit stops will happen. A Mercedes and a Red Bull are already in, and
Okay, you're in the top 10.
let's see. So we are into P6 now. So because of pit stops, because of those soft runners, you can't really take them more than 8 or 9 laps, especially because you did a qualifying lap on that. Cutting to lap 8 now, and this is where I get my first and only warning of the race. Trying to go flat out through that right hander, run a little wide, and that's a warning because of strict corner cutting rules. But that's the only warning I get, so it's all good, as I now start my 9th lap of the race, and this is the point.
Grip levels to start falling away soon.
Yeah, this is the point. As Jeff said, I'm feeling the effect of tire wear. Alonso has been behind me for the entire race, and here is Bottas. He's trying to exit the pits as we sweep around the outside of him. Now this is something which I thought about, and I didn't really want to fight him. He's clearly in a very fast car on a different strategy, and I just give him the room on the outside, rather on the inside, to take that position. Maybe I should have braked a little earlier there, because maybe I lost time there. But either ways, Bottas is through. He's in P2 right now, and he has a considerable gap to the likes of Verstappen and Hamilton, who are behind and have to overtake us before they can think about catching Valtteri Bottas. Right, lap 9, and
We're leading our teammate by 13.4 seconds. They're on old mediums. They're in 13th. The time last lap was a 1:33.2.
right, so just checking about our teammate again, and on the next lap it's Verstappen who has caught up to us. He is definitely on a 2-stop. He started on the softs, going on the softs again, and again, like Bottas, I'm not going to fight this at all. Preserving my tires, preserving my battery. You can see that my front left is 44%, so don't really want to push the tires too much while fighting cars who are clearly very fast and on a different strategy. So Alonso is still behind me, and Alonso continues to be behind me for the rest of the stint. He is just not able to. He has DRS on almost all the laps, but maybe his setup or his yeah, that's probably just it. The setup is not giving me enough straight line speed to overtake me.
Gap to teammate behind is 17.0 seconds. They're on old mediums. They're in 14th. The time last lap was a 1:33.4.
Yeah, Hamilton is through. As you can see, Hamilton is into P5, and just like Bottas, I am not going to fight this at all. I will just let him through. I'll brake early into turn 4, let him take the inside line. Again, probably losing more time than I wanted to in the process, but leaving him alone and concentrating on my fight with Alonso. You can see, because I'm letting these people through, I'm losing time to Alonso, who's just 2 tenths behind me now. So I have to be really careful, especially in these pit stop phases where I'm losing the tires.
We're boxing this lap. Give us the best in lap you can.
Right, so pit stop time. We are on a one-stop strategy and onto the hard tires. The game did not really allow me to go, but I was thinking about this, whether I should come on lap 13 or 14, but I realized that maybe Schwartzman would have been coming in on the next lap, and I did not want to give Alonso an opportunity to undercut me. Those new hard tires would have been pretty fast as compared to old mediums. And speaking about Schwartzman, who's a pit stop behind me, I have caught up to him, and hopefully he peels into the pits. Even if it doesn't, it will be an easy overtake on my teammate. So I don't think he really wants to be overtaken by me, and yeah, there he goes into the pits. So that will promote us into P13 and then P12.
Robert is in the pits.
As
Robert in the pits.
other people have pitted as well. So no more pit stops, at least no more scheduled pit stops unless there's a late safety car. And then
Leclerc
it's Leclerc ahead of
to
me.
The car in front is 2.0 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 8 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1:31.3.
Right, so Charles Leclerc was the car ahead of me, and he was on mediums. So I was not really wanting to fight him. You can see again lifting through that. I'll show you the whole sector here, or the mini part of the sector, where you can see that I have to lift and coast, and that is because I am running negative on fuel. And what I've realized is, even though I am lifting and coasting, especially in heavy braking zone, I'm not saving enough fuel. So this is the point of the race, was I was really worried. You can see I'm lifting a lot because I really don't want to run out of fuel. I'm in a good position right now and good place to score some points, as Leclerc is into the pits for his second stop, so that's not a good strategy at all.
Gap ahead is
And
1.9
that
seconds.
has promoted us into P8. Is McLaren coming out of the pits. There's Lando Norris on the medium tires, so he has come out ahead of us, and he will absolutely fly away with that tires and with the car which he has. So he's not in the fight, and my main goal at this point in time is to ensure that I keep Alonso behind me, and maybe, just maybe, catch Lance Stroll as we cut to lap 25. We are 1.5 seconds when the yellow flies up ahead, and Stroll is going very slowly there. What has happened to him? I'm not sure. This is exact same corner where he was upside down, and Stroll seems to have a mechanical issue. He is going really slowly. He might be out of the race at this point. Yeah, that's a confirmation. Lance Stroll is out of the race, and that gives us a position as on the last lap, Valtteri Bottas has won the first race of the season with Max Verstappen, probably in P2, setting the fastest lap as well. But we, on our debut race in the first ever race of our team, are going to finish in the points. It could have been P8, but Lance Stroll in the dying laps had a really unfortunate DNF, and that means we are going to finish P7. What a result this will be, and a lot of points for the first outing, and that helps us in sponsor objective as well, as we cross the finish line, set our fastest lap of the race,
Okay, pick up
and
rubber and bring it home.
P16 to P7. I really enjoyed that one, although most of it was keeping Fernando Alonso behind, as the game gives us driver of the day as well. So that's recognition from Codemasters.
So Mercedes
But
have won
I
it, so
enjoyed
what a
that one,
great race it
and
was.
hopefully we can develop more and more in terms of car, and we can get our teammate to score some points as well. Right, so that's the final race
Let's have a
classifications.
look then at the drivers' standings. Valtteri Bottas passes his rival to take over the lead of the Drivers' Championship. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
I have to give it to Sharp. They pushed and pushed and found some fantastic performance. It was just a pleasure to watch.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes moved to the top of the table. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.
Right, so that's the first race done and dusted in Bahrain. We have some time before we start the Spanish Grand Prix, and there are some events and activities which are planned during the season off period. So that's something which is happening. This is our car, by the way. I realized I did not capture it, and there is a dilemma for one of our departments. So that's something which is coming up in just a moment. But that's our car. Let me know how you like the livery. We will start the season break and the HQ will shut down, so no working for anyone who is supposed to. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We are nearing towards the end of the video. We have some upgrades coming in before the next
I know
race.
we were expecting some new developments to come through, but some of them have failed quality control. We'll need to tell the team what to redevelop via the R&D screen. Could you take a look at this for us, please?
Well, just as we say that, one of our developments has failed,
Not an easy decision, but you handled it well.
and this is something which is new. Basically, it was asking whether you want our second driver to attend a media event. Absolutely yes, it gives him 1000 acclaim. But that's been the episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe if you want to follow regular content. I'll be uploading these at least once or twice a week, and some of the shots from the race. Please leave a feedback for me in terms of what I should change, what I should not change, and thank you and goodbye. Have a good day.